been fiddling about out there a little bit. Coming into the studio, this is what we're doing today. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, very nice. Now we're going to be attempting something like this, so it's very sort of outdoorsy, sort of sketchy painting, so we'll be moving quite quickly. I don't want you to do anything more with your line drawing other than this simple thing here. Can you see that? Okay, so it's just the two little bits of land here and a line at the back. Okay, so 1, 2 areas. It's as simple as that. So we're going to do 2 washes, one up here followed by 1 down here, and then we're going to just put our little bits and bobs over the top. So it's a really simple but effective painting. I'm not even going to bother with tape today, which means I won't get the joy of taking the tape off, obviously, but you can't have everything, can you? So here I am, putting a wash on. Imagine oh, that was close. Nearly spilled the water all over me. What's it called? Phone. There we are. Something's up here. I think I've got paint all over me bins from where I was spattering this morning. So I've got to clean them off. You know when you do that spattering, you get paint all over your bins. So that's what happened there. So here we go. So I've cleaned them now. Very nice. Now for this particular exercise, I'm going to use this colour scheme that we've got going here. So that's me wash on. See? Give it a little bit of a nurturing. Again, this is going to be... I've got a bit of blue on me. What's it called? On my brush, you see? That's not much cop, is it? Never mind. Clean your brushes, clean your brushes. This is going to be a very quick outdoorsy type thing. So my paints I'm using are going to be a sort of range running between white going through Naples yellow to yellow ochre up to my browns, like it's a sienna, burnt sienna and a burnt umber it says, but I never know the difference between burnt or raw anyway. So there we go. We're going to start off looking down the river, so into the distance. And we're going to get some nice Naples yellow there, mix it in with a bit of white. I'm just using Students Quality White there, because it's just for mixing, so we don't need any great shapes. I'm going to use this quite big brush here, and it's going to be very simple. We're just going to lay down the background like this. Look at that. Oh, nice. And then we can see from the corner of our wash that we now want to get some dark in, so I'll go in with a bit of yellow ochre. That's French for ochre. Ochre. It's not really, is it? There we are. Just a bit of that there. Oh, nice. Oh, and then just take it out into the edges a little bit. So we're getting a sort of like, almost like a vignette type affair, like an illustration rather than a painting. Now I'm going to go in with the darks here, just get a bit of that already on there. That was meant to be burnt sienna. I put burnt umber, I didn't check. Never mind. Oh, look at that! Oh. I don't want you to get bogged down. You're not trying to make these look like trees or anything yet. You're just making nice washes, nice colours. Look at that. This is basically to start with. That's a bit there. Then we'll do that there. And then we'll do this here. And then we'll get a nice bit of dark in the old dark malarkey room. Look at the way this is all working here, sort of flowering, cauliflowering out. It's lovely, isn't it? Let it do it. Let the watercolour, let the water do the work for you. Now, well, where's my rag? Oh, schoolboy error. Keep cleaning your brush. I haven't got a rag. Right, I'll just have to use. Oh. Ah, there's one. Faffing around, you see. And then a bit of the old umber in there, just in the heart, in the forest, and basically that's what you want. Okay, that's what you want to start with. Now we're just sitting let that dry. Right, there we are. So that's nicely dried now. So basically, we're now going to repeat this trickery below. Basically, this is reflective surface, water. So we're just going to basically reflect what's up there. Don't try and waste all with a clean brush, not like me with a dirty brush. Don't waste time getting it exactly right. this is very much a sketchy sort of affair. I'm working sideways again, like I like to. You know, Maestro always likes to go sideways, as you know, so we're going to do exactly what Len said. Exactly what I did up here, look. So starting off with a bit of the old Naples yellow on the old palette, like that, with a bit of white mixed in just to lighten it up. I actually like to go on my reflections, I tend to go a little darker, whether they actually are in real life or not. I always like to be slightly darker at the bottom half of my picture. Obviously exceptions that prove the rule, like now. So there we are, just this in the middle like that, coming with this bit of the old that we did before, remember? Clink, 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 went the palette. There's the old, see you in, no, not now. That was someone trying to get my cameraman. So there we go, shuffle him in, shuffle him in. Get a bit more of this. That's burnt umber. I want to get a bit of the old burnt sienna again. So we're basically mirroring-ish. Don't waste your time trying to get an exact reflection. Just near enough is good enough on this. I'm going to go on the burnt umber now. And my feeling is that these rocks here are going to be proper dark in my painting. So I want to get proper dark underneath, reflecting under there. So you basically get that sort of stuff. We'll refine this later, but you can see where we're going from here, can't you? Just make the noises, make the noises. This is water, so you can make splishy noises, although it's quite, what's it called, water, isn't it? Smooth. That's the Johnny. That's the Johnny. Let's go under there again. Oh! Oh, it's nice. Now I'm going to get a slightly smaller brush and just tail it off underneath my bit of land here, the reflection. So it sort of goes to a nice point like that. See that? Oh, nice. It's nice. And honestly, for now, that's almost it. I just feel I want to bring a little bit of this in there like that. Something like that. That's all we're looking for. See that? That's it for now. Now again we sit back and let it dry. Okay, so that's our two, what we might call our ethereal washes done. The background and the water. Now we're going to concentrate on the hard objects. In other words, the sort of impressions of these rocks and whatever else is going on in the bank there. You know, little inlets, little mossy bits and all that sort of stuff, you know. So in order to do that, I'll sort of break this up a little bit, we'll have those as rocks there, and this is just sort of grassy, earthy, muddy type thing. Same's over here, like this. And let's get going. I'm going to really just plaster the paint and go quite gung-ho here. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start with a bit of a burnt umber, a little bit of burnt sienna ortho, like that. I'm going to paint light over dark later on when this is all dry, which is very watercolory, as you probably know. No, just shuffle it along like that. Nice. Don't worry about neatness here. This is not a neat picture. You've got to keep. Oh, look at that. Oh, meaty, lovely little shuffle. So you get the sort of ridges of the land, a little bit of rough there. That's really nice. Yeah, I'm liking that. Come round. Give the old nozzle scratch. It's a bit itchy, you see. Not a bad day out there. Watching the world go by as usual. That doesn't show much, but that's fine. That's fine. Not even going to bother cleaning the brush there, because I want a bit of a mixture. But now, very much will clean the brush. And that's good. So keep cleaning that brush. Every now and again we buck the trend by not, but I'm not really very keen on that. So let's get some rocks in here now. I'm just going to put a little wash there, like that. Be a good idea to get some water on, wouldn't it? Yeah? Otherwise it's not a wash, is it? It's a non-wash. Wash. Right, what about a bit of this yellow ochre? I'm going to try a bit of that. With some more burnt umber. Notice I'm just putting little bits and bobs on at the time. Yeah. So now we'll just carve that into the wash like that, and then come underneath it with a bit of, oh look at that. Nice, bit of a tummy rumble there. Clean the brush. Go along, make them a bit darker as they go into the shadows. I'm working quite quickly here. I want it to have a nice loose feel to it, so that's why I'm working so quickly. A bit of dark at the bottom there like that. We'll come in with some more dark later when this paint's dried. It won't really take, if I try and put some really dark paint on there now, it doesn't really take it because it's just too wet basically. There we go, look at that. I might even come in with some Payne's Grey added to this later, just to make it really dark. Shuffle it along, shuffle it along. Basically I'm just filling in the gaps here, and then I'm going to put some highlights and zhuzh it up a bit later, yeah? Zhuzhery, zhuzhery. I like shushing. Zhuzhery. The song is singing about West Ham, there, but I won't go into that. Here we go. On the other side. Oh, could be anything this, couldn't it? I mean, it's basically a bit of a mess, isn't it? I mean, I do like to get in quite a bit of a mess with these things, because I just love when you get to the end and you put all the little bits over the top and it just zings it all to life. Excusez-moi. A little bit more of the umber. You notice my palette, it's lots of little areas. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, bit there, bit there, bit there. I'm constantly replenishing the palette. Remember that. Don't get all your paint out first. Constantly replenish, because that paint now is really lovely and fresh, easy to work. See, like that. Shuffling down, shuffling down. And see, it's just working into the thing. I'm going to get a smaller brush now. This is just a single 0. Has the same point basically as a 3-0, just a little, it's a little firmer perhaps. I'm just going to do a little bit of daintiness there, a little bit of little, see that? Ooh, I like it, it's nice. Then I'm going to actually do a little bit of just in there. I quite like flashing them out the side, just gives it that nice illustrative. Oh, something almost fell over out there. Oh, it's great, you can see everything from up there. You should try it. Yeah, I'm liking that. This is a bit stark, so what I'm going to do is give the feeling of the sort of, I don't know, of the sort of bank there, like that, at the back, and then give it its reflection there, like that, and then get a sort of, just to emphasise the reflection, get some dark there, and then some dark there, and maybe a little thing there, and a little thing there. And it gives things a sort of reflection. I shall go along, I shall firm that up with some white later. You'll see when I get there. So at the moment, it's just a splodge. It's just an abstract splodge, isn't it, really? But that's good because it means we can get to work. I'm now going to ruffle up some of this area with an old scrubby brush. This is just an old kiddie's brush, I think. I don't know what it is. Just something that turns up in your collection, you know, from time to time. So that's good. So let's get some of that. So this is completely dry. I'm going to put this on completely dry, and just with a mixture of burnt sienna and burnt, and just get some of that sort of brushy, leafy feel going on here. Like that. I'll do that on both sides, just to make it even more of a mess. This is like making such a mess and then seeing if you can get out of it. Oh, I can already see in my mind's eye how it's developing. It's a nice feeling. Of course, what I've done now is overstretched me reflection, but we'll disguise that. So don't worry about that. And the same on the other side. A bit more. of the old burnt sienna and a little bit more of the old burnt umber. And we want this sort of Stoke dark. I think you all know what Stoke dark is, for those of you that don't. If there's a Stoke hiding in there, a Stoked or there, could you see the Stoke? If you couldn't see the Stoke, it's dark enough, but if you think you could see the Stoke, it's not dark enough. And that's the sort of brushy edges to the sort of trees on the bank. Now we sit and let all that dry before we move on to the next bit. Okay, this shouldn't take too long to dry, about 10 minutes or so. And then we're ready to move on to maybe getting some trees into the equation up here in the corners like this. Right, now we're going to start getting into the trees now. It's hard to imagine this is going to be anything other than just a huge mess, isn't it? So I'm just going to use my source work here as a rough guide. I did this outdoors, so the source work I would have used then was the actual tree, of course. So I'm going to work towards myself, just have it coming out of the, what's it called there? Out of the foliage of the tree. That's the sort of trunk of the tree coming out. Keep replenishing that. Have it. Like that. You might want to imagine that the light source is sort of somewhere in the middle. So you might want to do the old malarkey. There's me rag. Lost me rag. Oft used, what's it called in class. There we are, look at that. And that's just nice, and I'll just now branch this one out. We're making a sort of canopy across the top of our thing. Now already you can sort of start to see that there's a change, and it's starting to vaguely, at this point, resemble some fang. There we are. So let's just have another one up here. That's a slightly different angle. That's going to come up there. There's something going back and across here. It's always nice. Oh, see that? Nice. This comes with years of practice. I've been obviously painting trees and painting outdoors and rivers and all this lot for many a long moon now. Not that I can imagine that a moon is actually long. It's sort of round, isn't it? You know, I mean, I think our star, the sun, is completely overrated, don't you? I mean, after all, you know, it only bothers coming out during the day when it's light anyway. Whereas at least when the sun comes, the moon comes out, it comes out at night time when it shines a little bit of brightness, eh? That's just a little bit of stupidness. There we are. I don't want to bring something else down. I want to be sort of forming a sort of canopy across, but this is just my main branch, my main trunk and branches. I'm not doing any twiggery. There's no twiggery yet. That twiggery comes later, all this sort of lovely little bits. And, oh look, you can see that's going to happen, can't you? Oh, it's very nice. It's a lovely thing. There we are. I'm going to bring this up here, have a nice big fat one down there like that. Just keep looking at your picture. There comes a time when you need to stop looking at your source work and look at your picture, what your picture needs. That obviously needs something coming through this tree or across it, and as it goes to the light we'll make the paint lighter, so to speak. And then there will be all sorts of little twiggery coming off this later, but that's about all we want to go for now. Maybe bring some of this back here in that, and there's a few bits coming out there. Look, lovely, 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 lovely. I'm moving the, as you can see, I'm moving the thing all over the place. That's just how I work. I need to work towards me. That's a sort of nice one there. Just little bits, little dashes here and there. Look, little scribbly little dashes. Well, that's always nice. We're going to bring some highlights in later on, but for now I think I will just take, this is sort of going nowhere, so I'll bring that up there, and it's sort of like that sort of thing. That's nice. It's neat. We need to have something cutting across there as well, so that's, and sort of, so you notice that I started doing what the picture needed, not what I was working from. That's a completely different thing. So that I'm going to leave that now for a minute, let this all dry up, and then we'll start getting to the nitty-gritty of the painting to, you know, to really dress it up, really zhuzh it up nicely, and start thinking a bit more, bringing all the light and the white on the water and that, which is going to really transform it. Okay, that'll do for now. Lovely. Nice cup of tea made there for me by old cameraman. Right, now, so we've got to this sort of area, we remember. We're now going to switch tack and start going for this little twiggery. So what I'm going to do here is, first of all, I'm just going to create a bit more of a background here with my scrubby brush. So I'm going to get some burnt sienna, and I'm going to go too dark into this area. So rather than umber or Van Dyke brown or something like that, I'm going to ganfure a bit of burnt sienna like that. I might even take it down with a little bit of yellow ochre. How about that? And then I'm going to get my old scrubby brush. So no water involved at all here. Just a nice clean scrubby brush. This old brush here. Go straight into the dry paint. Look at that. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? And then just scrub a bit off on the palette, I think, and just scrub a bit out of the edge of my sort of trees here, into the undergrowth, you see, into the background. That's nice. Yeah. Ah. Ooh. So you can see why you need an old rubbish brush for this, can't you? You don't want to be using your good brushes for that sort of stuff, because you really do abuse the end. It's like, it's just a real old, it's a technique really that wouldn't normally be associated with traditional watercolour. But that just breaks the edge of that up nicely. See, so that's very nice. Clean that brush, shove it aside, done its work. Now I come into my twiggery. So I'm just going to use a 0, 0 here, and I'm going to get my little 3, 0, 0 for the really sort of tiny bits and bobs. And I'm now going to look at the edges of my larger branches and trunks and all that malarkey, and I'm going to go lighter here than I did there. So again, I'm going to stick with my burnt sienna and yellow ochre, so we get quite a nice rusty feel as your twigs go thinner. You don't want them to be as dark, because they'll look black, and you don't want black in this picture. So now we're going to slow right down, and I'm going to anchor my hand again. We did it with the twiggery, and just continue from the end of one of these. I'm going to do this for a little bit, and then we're going to zoom right in and have a look properly. Now that's already very nice. In I go again, and we keep cleaning that brush. A little bit of, what's it called? Then I'm going to come in off this knuckle here, and a bit thicker, and then just come in like this. Nice. That's nice. Now remember, try and get your twigs and branches in more of a jerky sort of angly thing. They don't really go like, let's find a bit of, yep, like this. I do see a lot of this when people are doing their branches and twigs. This is a do and a don't, right? This is a sort of do. So it's quite jerky with knuckles. This is a sort of don't. That. Don't be doing that. None of this curvy thing. I look at this now, and I can see that it needs a little bit of zhuzhery. So this is all gonna take a good 20 minutes at least. Oh, that was a nice one. Look at that. So you see how that's all working? It's gradually thinning out to nothing. So that's nice, but you've got to come in with this one here. I'm working towards my sort of sideways towards myself on this. Just firm that bit up a little bit. Now we're just going to come right in and get a real look at how I jerk the brush about, okay? Alright, we're in. Excellent. See that? Oh, they used to call him the Spielberg of, what's it called? Now I think it's more the sort of, what's his name? Greenaway. Yeah, the Greenaway. So here we go. Just, I'm slowing down a little bit, just so as you can see that little flick at the end. If you can do that, that just takes it off into nothing. That's very nice. Just one more little one here. We're going to repeat it all on the other side. At this point I would turn round. I haven't finished here yet with my twiggery, but I would turn round and do a little bit here, this side, to marry it up. Do a bit this side, bit that side, bit this side, bit that side. So you flip and flam, flip and flam, flip and flam. Now this is all going to take me, you know, a good sort of another 10-15 minutes. So I'm going to crack on with that, and I'll see you in 15 or 10 minutes, okay? But that's 15 or 10 minutes in my world, not your world. I will actually be there within, right there immediately. Right, so there we are. Now I've finished all my twiggery up to a point. At the very end I might do, you know, a little bit more zhuzhing up. But looking at this, it's, see all the lovely little twigs as they sort of, I try to drift them off into nothing. Don't just stop dead. That's because I've used the brush coming towards me, right, with all the twiggery, and much lighter paint on these twigs than I have used on the branches here. It's really important to remember that. But looking at this now, isn't it, it's hard to believe when we made all these messes at the beginning. I think Sam said as early as when I started putting this tree in, you could all of a sudden you could start seeing what it was going to become. So there's a lesson right there, isn't there? You know, you're going to make a mess before you make anything nice. So always just push through your messes. Don't ever give up. So now we're going to divert our attention from the upstairs part of the painting, and we're going to go down into the water now. And what we're going to do here is we're going to just flash some little bits of white across. That shows you water. Okay? So here I go and turn it upside down. Let's do it this way so you can actually see. And I'm getting my white out. It's a titanium white, but it is quite useful actually. Chris has got this in there. It's artist titanium, which seems student's titanium, tip white as we call it, which seems pretty robust. So I'm going to clean my brush off right here, which has sort of got all the woody colour paint on it. Oh, that's not a rag, that's my shirt. Oh, but it is my work shirt, so I might as well use it. There we are. So here we go. So across the very, so I'm going a bit more. Look at that. Oh, look, straight away. So really zings it to life, doesn't it? That's across the. That's just showing you where the bank and the water mix here. I'm going to now come down here and just scrape a little bit of paint. I'm going to turn this upside down just to get a better line for me, and then just a little bit there like that. See how that it just really starts to come to life, doesn't it? So good, so good. This is why the white is so, what's it called, effective. Coming up this way now, the other side. It's another good reason to do it sideways and upside down, because it divorces you from the reality of your painting. So you forget, you're not even bothering to try and make it look like water, you're just doing nice lines like this and you're just having fun. And then you turn it around and you go, oh! Like that, and you surprise yourself. See, that's all part of the joy and fun of the whole malarkey. I'm going to pull this across here like this. I'm not going to make the water noises because there isn't, because it's quite still. If I'm doing waterfalls, I like to, or a rough sea, I like to make all the noises. But this isn't like that. This is a nice sedate little river sea. So I'm going over here with a much bigger brush now to with a big dollop of it, just sweep, anchor the painting, just sweep across like that. Don't have no fear. Look at that. No fear. Don't worry about messing your painting up, you won't. And even if you do, big deal. Remember, it's only a painting. It's also the most important thing in the world at this given moment in the universe, galactically. But, oh, look at that, big dollops of white, I'm loving it. You know, oops, that was a bit of a joggums. But I'll do that for now, and I'll sort of zhuzh this up a little bit later. That's the sort of thing for now. Let's just get something on its own across there, cutting across there. I also like to have a couple of, look at that. Horse arm, but it's all a bit white dominated. So what I'm going to do is get some other lines going across, some darker lines going across my water, my agua. This, incidentally, for what's it called sake, continuity's sake, that's not even the word I was looking for. This is on the River Dart, up by, it was either Dartmead, no I don't think it was up by Two Bridges I think. You just walk upstream a little bit. Look at that, those lovely little lines. Now this needs some going across there, obs. So I'm going to come down with my bigger brush and just get a line going. All I'm looking at here, incidentally, is that just needs breaking up, that area of the picture, doesn't it, quite clearly. So I'm just going to start that with my dark paint like this. Shuffle that across, it wasn't really dark enough, I'll have to come back with that. And that's just me breaking across. Again, show no fear. Now already, you see how that's worked? It's great, isn't it? Not bad at all, though I say so myself. I'm just going to firm the top of that up a little bit. We're just looking at little bits, maybe do that and that, that and that, maybe, oops, make sure the reflection's directly underneath. I just want to give a little bit of oomph to some of these rocks here, and after I've done that, we're just going to let it dry for a little bit, and then we'll come in with some final cutting across with some lights and some splashing and that sort of business. So get my other brush here, probably get this big fat brush, why not, and just let's get some yellow ochre with this maples. Just want to break up these rocks a little bit, give them a bit of character, a bit of light, you know. Let's have a look, something like, then we'll start over this side, a bit of light there, like that, maybe a bit there, that sort of thing, yeah. Oh, a bit there, nice. And then on this side, a bit of light just hits that one, maybe a bit just coming down there, a bit in there like that, and so for just a bit up there, just look in an area and think, well that's a bit, just put a dollop of light in it like that. That's the sort of thing for now. I do definitely need, before I proceed, I think, to get into my burnt umber and just do one last little bit here. Okay, just come across there like that. Maybe another little one there, and then just darken that side up a little bit. Yeah, it's nice. Like that. Oh, I'll just come up through there. And now all I really want to do to sort of finish off really is I look at this, I need to bring some light lines through it. Perhaps I'd quite like to go in with the Naples yellow and the yellow ochre and just drag a little. That's a bit too thick, and that's, I'll come back across that with dark later in a minute. And come on, just a little sort of, you know, flash of light. This can be just anyhow, it's like that. It's just a flash of light from the sun hitting stuff. Maybe coming with one across there like that. And basically, all I'm doing now is looking at dark areas that just need crossing in some way, like this. I'm just shuffling. I'm nowhere in the picture. I'm just looking at an abstract image now. I'm looking at, what about that area? That needs something. Don't ask the question, yeah, but what is that? It just needed it. Look at that. It breaks it all up, sets it all back, gives it sort of layers and depths, you know. I really like that. Oh, now we're gonna, maybe, I'm gonna get my big old brush here and just do a little, we're very near the end now. Apart from ever such final zhuzh, which I won't bother with. That might not do anything, it might. There's a little bit there, look at that! Sets it all back, doesn't it? It looks like little sunspots, I think we've mentioned the old sunspots before. Let's have another go on the other side. That's it, once is enough, maybe a little bit up there, maybe just a bit across there like that. Just to break up that, the monotony of that area. Do you see? Look at that. Oh my wordy word. Now what about a little bit there, a little bit there. I like to have a little bit of the dark up here maybe, because this is a real old sketchy thing. I haven't bothered. Look at that, just in there, it's just nice. It's just nice. Have a look at that. I'm going to come in here and just put a bit, maybe a bit down there in the wool, what's it called? Yeah. Now, what about, just as a finishing touch, you get a little bit of bright orange like this, real old arse kicker. This, if you're going to do this, this has to be a proper artist quality orange to have the power on my key here. I've got my power, I've got my experience. That was Azuma Nelson after he'd just beaten Pat Cardell. And it was, apparently he was okay here because he had his power, he had his experience, like that. So that's what I got. So a little dob of that one, of the orange, and then just drag a bit. So, oh, you get this really vibrant little, look at that. It just helps break it all up a little bit more, do you see that? Oh, isn't that great? You haven't used any of this orange in the whole thing so far, but it just, it in no way takes anything away from, it doesn't look out of place in this palette, does it? I'm just bringing that across there. You might even want to just get a little bit zinging across your dark bit there in the water. Oh my giddy aunt. See, this is not a bad effort for just a throwing paint at a sort of mess, is it? There we are. So there we are. And so what about, yeah, take a bit of this orange into that. That's nice. So you think on your feet, think on your feet. You have a little dot here and there. Just where you think it might look good. There's quite nice. What about scrape a bit up there? And before we overdo it, just maybe getting a little bit down here. There. Look at that. You've got to admit, that's pretty damn impressive. So there we have it. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was pretty much attacking the paper, you know, with making an unholy mess to begin with. I think you'll agree with that. When we just had our initial washes and ended up with a really rather splendid river scene. Well, I think it's rather splendid. Anyway, thank you for your time, and I'll see you next time.